Hi guys. So I started this book on my own time. I wasn't even going to, this wasn't a book that I was even going to vlog about. It's just a book I was reading and it is so intriguing. I'm now tossing this in. I'm also trying to complete over 50 books before my mom, grandma, and I leave on a trip out to see my brother. So that's what this is gonna be now. But this is in the stack. A lot of these are actually in stacks for videos, but this is in the stack of books I just wanted to read. So this is How to Date a Superhero and Not Die Trying. I saw this at the library and picked it up. It is YA. It's from a new author and it has like such a different writing style. I can't even describe it. It's so fascinating. But I'm literally in chapter 2 right now, and like it takes a little bit to get into this writing style, but I'm definitely into it. So we're following our main character who's a freshman, who's in college. We're following our main character who's in college, who's dating the same boy that she met in high school, and her best friend who she's rooming with, and his crazy antics. And in this world, they're also in New York City, which I've been reading a lot about lately. I don't even know how. That's just been like a weird fluky thing. Not intentional by any means. And in this world, real superheroes exist, have existed. They are a known fact. And it is very much what happens to the mundane people in the world that superheroes exist. The first chapter is setting up, and she's also paged as having a very boring superpower. She knows exactly what time it is at any given time of day. That is her whole superpower. That's it. That's her entire superpower. And I don't know if it's like a coping mechanism yet, but that's the way it's pitched in this. And her boyfriend, who she's been dating for over a year, they've been friends for a really long time, he's obviously, from our perspective as the reader, coded as a superhero. Very Clark Kent-y, very like, he's trying to be nerdy and clumsy and all this stuff. But yeah, there are hints where he's not like that, and this is like very written in almost like a memoir style. It's really, really interesting. So at the end of the first chapter, don't worry, no spoilers. At the end of the first chapter, so like oh god, sorry, I'm really scattered. So like her boyfriend, roommate, and her are all in her dorm room, and they were gonna go get dinner, and they're talking about where they're gonna go get dinner, and basically the supers are having some sort of fight and they're closing campus down because there's some sort of super fight going on, and her boyfriend rushes out. That's our first indication that something is off with him. By the end of the first chapter, someone's crashed into her dorm room window and has kidnapped her out of the room and drops her from a height. And then a voice that she basically recognizes says her name, and like catches her, says her name, and she passes out. And in the second chapter, she's been watching, she was watching a documentary on PBS about like their first like homegrown superhero, and her meeting her now boyfriend and all of that. And that's where I've stopped. I'm currently on page 23. Again, this takes a little bit of getting used to because it is such a different writing style, but it is so intriguing. It's just the world building is there. They're like talking about a superhero with his superhero identity name and his like PhD credentials, with his lab experiment that goes just wrong correctly, and all of that stuff. It is so fascinating. Y'all know I love books about superheroes. I love books about people with powers, and right up my alley. Right up my alley. I am so thrilled. Like, I'm very much like a superhero nerd. I mean, I literally have you sitting on a Batman desk that I hand painted. But I'm also not a comic book person or graphic novel person. I'm a, like, give me a chunky boy person. And just yay. Superhero novels are becoming like a common thing now, and I am so freaking happy. But like, she just introduced him, and he's like very much like a Clark Kent, like nerdy, dorky, clumsy. Like, they're very much coding him as Clark Kent, and I am here for that. As much as I am much more of a Batman fan and much less of a Blue Boy Scout fan, I'm definitely a DC girl. So like, and I'm assuming we're also going to see like a lot of representations of Marvel characters in here as well. But yeah. Okay, so I just finished How to Date a Superhero and Not Die Trying. This is gonna get a solid 3 stars from me for a couple of reasons. Okay, first of all, I really like the world. I really like that this is very much alternative universe. It's set in our world with our reality. In only difference is superheroes and aliens exist and are on Earth, and supervillains, etc., and all coincide with humans. And of course, this affects science and everything else, right? And that's just like a known fact in this universe. Highly like that. I like the world building. I like how it's built. I'd pick something else up by this author. And I say that because a lot of times on internet spaces, people think that if you don't immediately rave about a book, you hate it and you're never going to read the author again. It's far from the truth. I read a lot, and a 3-star from me is generally something that I'm going to pick right back up. Something else from this author and a heartbeat. So I've noticed that I'm reading less and less YA these days, and I think I've just matured as a person and as a reader. So generally when I am reading YA, it is landing somewhere in that like 3-star category, just because it's a me thing, not a book thing. But the writing style I couldn't get behind. So this is not told linearly. It's told very sporadically and sort of through different situations. And we will get chapters like sophomore spring and stuff like that. I just could not get behind the writing style. Not only how it's structured is different. Again, I'm not saying that's a different thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm just saying I don't like the way this one is particularly done. I've read stuff that isn't told linearly that I've liked before. The way this is structured, I simply don't like. And then the writing is actually in like this weird sort of borderline stream of consciousness vibe, which is just not really my cup of tea. Nothing wrong with either of those things by any means. It's just not my thing. I want more books like this. I'm a big superhero fan. Like I said before, you're sitting on a Batman desk. My dog is named Poison Ivy. Like, if you can't tell that like I'm a big superhero fan, I am. And I want more books in superhero universes. I want more of this kind of thing on the shelves, in my hand, in large novel form. This is just not for me. And it really upsets me because, again, I would love another novel in this world. I would read a sequel to this even, because I love this world. I love the cast of characters. I love the cast of heroes and the cast of villains built into this. It's just that writing style that I can't jive with. And yeah, it's unique, it's different, it's fun. I powered through this in a day and a half, and this is not a small thing. So yeah, solid 3 stars, 3.5 if I'm gonna be generous. And I would pick something else up by this author. But Yeah, but if you like a non-linear form of storytelling, or you like a weird structure or a weird way of writing, you'd probably love this thing. Again, like I said, I love that this is set in our world, so it's not like actually connected to any DC or Marvel universe. I like that. I just highly recommend. Highly, highly, highly do like it. It is very good. And it also, there are points in here where it's very obviously a debut novel by a new author. Not that that's a problem. I will also be in that boat. I'm sure I will also make those mistakes myself. But you can tell at points. There are plot points that get picked up and dropped. But again, this is very like stream of consciousness, diary entry-esque, like in the way it's structured and written, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. But it's just not for me. But again, solid 3 stars. Like I keep saying, I will pick something else up by this author if she ends up writing anything else. And more superhero novels, please. All right, I will show you my next read here in a second. You know, when you really want a book to be good, really bad. I tried to read this so hard. I did finish it somehow. No. Just no. This book, I'll give it this. I could read it in a couple of hours. However, it's not enjoyable. It's boring. It's tedious. It's annoying. This is why I wouldn't even have liked as a teenager. As a 28-year-old adult, not even close. Nothing like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, which is what I thought it might be like. So yeah, no. No. Hi, I just finished The Girl in the Locked Room. I'm giving this 3 stars. Now, if you wanted to get into gothic horror, I would recommend something like this because it's like very, very light into the gothic horror vibes. But I think it's probably like it bridges that line between children's and young adult and children's and middle grade as far as books are concerned. But here's my issue with it. The resolution is lackluster at best, and something that I oftentimes find really annoying in children's literature is this sort of must-have happy ending, magic, perfect, everything ends well vibes because it's children's. And I'm like, they do set up the premise for that, but they don't set it up very well, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I did like that. So there's this old house that's been destroyed, something bad happened to it. This girl, her dad does the like historical renovations, and he accepts this job, and they move into the addition on the back. And she sometimes sees things, hears things. She has a gift, right? Okay. I like that setup. Very gothic horror, creepy old house. I like it. And again, it's super thin, so like it doesn't need to be super detailed because it's for children, right? But like the resolution, and it gets really good, and the way they reveal, and you can see the pieces putting together. And I think if I was like 10, I would have really loved like putting the pieces together of who the girl in the room was. At 28, obviously I figured out like chapters before, but and I understand not wanting to take it to the natural conclusion of where this is going at points, because that is really, really dark for children's literature. Really, really dark. But like, I've read Avi is actually very good at writing stuff like this, where he takes things that are much darker and much more adult in theme and still writes it for children. So Ghost and Attic is one of those things, or the Seer of Shadows, both by Avi, who's an excellent author and you know, wrote children's horror, but it's in children's gothic horror, but it's much more adult in tone. And this is very child in tone, very, very much for children in tone. And I would have given this book a lot more credit if it would have taken it to that conclusion, if it would have taken it to the natural conclusion of what should have happened instead of going down the path of happiness. So yeah, 3 stars. Overall, a good addition or a good introduction to gothic horror. Okay, I just finished this. I'm giving it 3 stars. If I was 12, I would devour this series. If you have a 12-year-old in your life, I'd say pick this up because it's kind of, sort of, not exactly, but in like the style of like a series of unfortunate events, that kind of thing. But for the most part, it's very just, I am too old. Nothing wrong with children's literature being written for children at all. But this is definitely one of those books you cannot enjoy as an adult. And that's very sad because I wanted to enjoy it. But if you're a huge fan of like a series of unfortunate events, I think you'd love this series. I didn't like that series even when I was a kid. So, but yeah, this is gonna be a no from me. I'm not gonna continue the series. But if you've got a 12-year-old in your life, they might like it. If you're an adult that's looking for good children's books to read, I wouldn't pick it up unless you're a huge fan of like a series of unfortunate events. So yeah, disappointing, but what can you do? Ow, my head. Okay, so to catch you up, this is the like everything I'm reading before we're leaving on our trip vlog. I have read 3 books, I think, since I updated you last. We are currently in the path of Elliot, so that's what's going on. I just finished Small Spaces. I'm giving this a 2. I also read, let me pull up my Goodreads. Sorry, texting with my sister. Anywho, okay. So I have finished How to Date a Superhero and Not Die Trying. I think I vlogged you about that one. Which I gave 3 stars. I finished Marie Antoinette's Serial Killer, which I gave 2 stars. I just found that to be rather exceptionally boring and tedious. The Girl in the Locked Room, which I gave 3 stars. I did find it to be a really good introduction into gothic horror and literature, especially for younger readers. It is actually, even though I got it in the children's section at my local library, it is actually how many times am I going to say actually in one sentence? Jeez, Libby. It is truly like a good introduction to gothic horror. And the reason it's not a 4 star is because the ending was completely messed up. And I hate it when they do that. And Wicked Water Park, which I gave a 3 star. And it mostly, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's like a sort of series of unfortunate events type series. And I don't like those. It just, not my thing. Nothing wrong with it. If I was younger, I probably would love it, but I didn't. So that's your update. I made it 2 more chapters. I'm DNFing. I can't do this anymore. All right. How do I sum up this? Okay, so basically this girl is obsessed with Christmas. Her family owns this like Christmas decorating business thing, and the story is all over the place. Like, it is like, you know, earlier in this video I read How to Date a Superhero and Not Die Trying, and that was told non-linearly. Well, that was told non-linearly on purpose. And it was structured properly as a non-linear story, right? So like, it wasn't told like A, B, C, D. It was told like F, G, etc. Right? This one is told like a chaotic dream that you're trying to describe that you had 3 days later. That's what this is. That's what this reads like. That's what this reads like. I mean, wow. No, seriously, this would not see the light of day if I wasn't making this video, because wow. There's so much family drama that doesn't seem to have a purpose at all. It's just there for drama's sake. There's so much ridiculousness going on. The whole thing is about her getting a first kiss or a second first kiss. That part's unclear. She's obsessed with Christmas. She's obsessed with her family's traditions of Christmas, and it is really cute that she wants to like make these kids that come to the experience like have the best Christmas ever. Like, that's cute. And the thing is, like, this could be fantastic. And that's like, those are the books that drive me the most up the wall, because this has enough material here and enough premise here. It just needed some help. Anyway, so yeah, no, 2 stars. No. 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 So I got to like chapter 4 and I remembered that I've already read this one this year. And it's good, it's cute. I really like her Christmas books, but I don't want to read the same book in the same year. So I'm gonna go ahead and just plug it into everything, because I didn't. And we're gonna read the next one, which I'm just gonna randomly grab. It's this one, the ridiculous one, which I haven't read, and I know I haven't read, so we're gonna read this one. Can you find a place you're not backlit, if that's even possible today? Well, I finished it. I have no idea what the hell I just read. It is a hilariously wild ride, but it is fan fiction to the nth degree. 3 stars in the best possible way. I don't think I'm gonna pick up the second book, but oh my god, wow. Okay, so I tried it. I got about 2 chapters in. I just can't. I think I might be growing out of YA almost completely, which is sad. But no. Like, I'm not a sappy romance girl. Holy sappiness. And again, we're only a couple chapters in. So yeah, DNFing. Not even gonna write it down on anything. It's not worth it. But yeah, no. All right, finish this one, 4 stars. 3 stars. Finish this one, 3 stars. Okay, so I just started this amazing book that I do not have the bandwidth to read right now, which sucks. So this is Dancing Cockatoos and the Dead Man's Test, or Dead Man Test. And it's written by a biologist. She's a professor and a biologist and a animal behavior specialist, and it is really well written and so good and so interesting, and like something that I'm deeply interested in, and I can't pay attention. This burnout is killing me. I hate it. Ah! I hate it. Because this is good. This is really, really good and really, really intriguing and really well written, and like I just got through the introduction and I can't focus on it, and it's driving me crazy. Alrighty, currently learning how to use my new mic, so that's why you're getting that. Sorry if everything is wonky. I'm trying to do a million things at once, and I realized I did not update you guys for the last, like, okay, well, both I forgot to update you, and 2, I had a ton of footage that got corrupted near the end of last year, and a bunch of these books were in that, so we're just going to talk about them now. So one of the books that didn't get covered so far in the vlog, as far as I know, is The Girl on the Velvet Swing, which is about this true crime case that happened in New York City. And it is one of those that's like really muddy and really messy and all of that insanity. One of the things I really liked about this book was this is a pretty well-known older case. I had heard almost nothing about it though, and something that I look for in my true crime is authors that actually treat people like people, especially victims. A lot of true crime books and podcasts and documentaries treat the whole thing as a spectacle. They treat the whole thing as if it's just entertainment, as if it's fictional, when it's not. When there are real people with real lives that are real victims of this whole thing. And this author doesn't do that. Everyone is given equal condemnment and praise and everything across the board one can imagine. This is not a simple open and shut case by any means. It's messy and convoluted and complicated and fascinating. And I just really appreciate the author respecting everybody as people. I also read The Spook in the Stacks. I didn't really like this one. I might like others from this series or author, but for some reason this particular book I just didn't really like. I did give it 3 stars. I mean, it is a cozy mystery. It's exactly what you expect from a cozy mystery. There's nothing outlying or weird or different about it. It was just kind of meh to me. I don't even know why exactly. And then for another video that completely got totally, all of the footage for this video in particular got completely corrupted. I don't even know how. But I read 4 books for this video, I think. Yes, I read 4 books for this video. No, I read 5 books for this video. That's right, I read 5 books for this video. And, like I said, the footage got completely corrupted, but this is everything I read before we left. So, by the time you're seeing this, no, I can't say that. Anyway, this is everything that I read in that time frame. So, Forget It Ever Happened, which is a science fiction book. I thought it was horror. It's not. It's definitely more science fiction, and it's definitely like light sci-fi. Not really my vibe. It's really kind of weird and bizarre and just like not in a good way, like not in a good discomforting kind of sci-fi way. And it's not like dystopian. It's like it's trying to say a message, but it doesn't say a message, and it's very YA. It's very meh. I gave it 3 stars. Now the dog is barking. Anyway, I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just very meh. Okay, The Woman in the Photo is another one. I've tried to read this 4 or 5 times at this point. I give up. I do not like it. I get to a certain point of it, and I simply don't like it at all. I gave this 2 stars. DNFing forever. I'm done. Not even trying anymore. I don't even know why I don't like it. I should like it, but I don't. I don't know what it is about it. And then I read The Witches in Moonlit Manor, which I thought was good, but I'm clearly not the target market for it, and there's nothing wrong with that. It was just kind of dull to me, but I think if I was significantly older, I think I would really like it. I just thought it was kind of meh. But I gave that 3 stars. Again, there's nothing wrong with it, just not a me thing. So that's a low 3 stars. And then there's this book. This book, which is just chef's kiss. It is straight horror. It is brilliant. It is really well done. It is fantastic. It is enjoyable. It is thrilling. It is unreliable narrator. It is intriguing. I think part of this actually did end up in a horror vlog. But it's Go Hunt Me, and it is slashery. It is final girl. It is fantastic. I gave this 5 stars. First book I finished this in 2023, and it is just chef's kiss brilliant. Absolutely fantastic.
absolutely enthralling. I cannot wait to read more from this author. I did not see the twist coming until the last couple of chapters, and then I was like, no way. No way. And, yeah. Also, at the same time, predictable, and exactly when you know what it is, you know what it is. But that's not a bad thing, necessarily. Then, also for that video, I read Hallows Lake, which I gave 2 stars. I got like maybe 2 chapters into this, and I just DNF'd it. I really liked it at the beginning. But once I got more into it, I just felt very, very, very tired. It's very YA and written in like very much a style of like an adult trying to be cool. And I just, no. Opt out, can't go any further, which is unfortunate because it's like set up as like this town with this mysterious disappearing situation, and like people keep disappearing, and there's like supposedly these creatures in this stuff, and there's this director that made a horror movie about it, and then his daughter goes there and she goes missing, and like it is right up my alley. And this book bored me to tears in a couple of chapters and then made me even more disinterested. So that's also a no. And then just to round this out, I read The Getaway, which I thought was perfectly fine. I don't think, and this is a me thing, I don't think I like horror books set in amusement parks. I think that's a me thing, and I just don't like that like subgenre. Other than that, I love this book. I love the cast of characters. I love the writing style. I love the pacing. I love the tone. I loved everything else except the basic story. And that is so aggravatingly annoying. This is a high 3-star from me, which means it's guaranteedly I will read again from this author. Because I really, really like his writing style. I like how he writes. I like his characters. I like their depth. I like their complexity. I like so much about this book. Except the thing that I actually need to like the book. It's really, 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 really annoying. But everything else I love. And I want more from this author so freaking bad because I want to read something else from him. Because his characters are just amazing. His characters are amazing. His dialogue is fantastic. His pacing is brilliant. The atmosphere, I couldn't get around it. I couldn't get behind it. I couldn't get into it. This also could have been a me thing because all of a sudden, yet again, my life became not mine. And it has been a wild wind for a few weeks. Actually, only a week, and it feels like a month. And it is possible that this was a me thing and I might pick this book up later and give it a second chance. But, yeah, I really desperately wanted to like this more than I did. And I finished it. And I was very disappointed by the ending. And I hate it when that happens. I also saw it coming from a million miles away. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's very formulaic because of what the story is. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. There are certain genres that are formulaic. And I seriously want more from this author so bad. I'd pick it up in a heartbeat. Bah! It's annoying. It's so annoying. So yeah, so I'm currently in the middle of which I will not finish by the time we go, but I just wanted to let everybody, wait, I need to update that. So I'm currently 21% of the way through 11/22/93, which is Stephen King's new book. It's very Stephen King, not gonna lie, it's good. Currently I'm in Derry right now, so if you've read it, you know where that is. He does, and yes, it is Derry from it. He actually implants a lot of his characters, a lot of his towns in his other stories. Shawshank is also in this book. He does that. That's just something that Stephen King does as an author. Like, he's built sort of this mythical world and he just places new characters in it. It's really cool. I don't know. Other authors do this too, but so does Stephen King. It's really good. I will say I haven't read a Stephen King in a really long time. I forgot how uncomfy it is to read how he writes women and teenage girls. That's super uncomfy. Super uncomfy that he does that. But super uncomfy. Very, very much white man writing a book. Very much. I've read worse though. Like, don't get me wrong. Very wordy, very big. Switch to audio format because I'm not going to finish it before we leave. And God, I need to finish this thing. It's so good. But at the same time, it's really interesting. It's really different. It's not straight horror coming from Stephen King. It's science fiction. It's urban fantasy. I really like this like different take on it. It's really fascinating, and it's kind of a thought experiment at the same time. Can we go back and change history? Should we go back and change history if we're given the choice? What circumstances, side effects, and situations occur when we do that wouldn't have before? So yeah, I don't know. I really like it. I think it's fun. I think it's fascinating. I think it's cool. But that's everything. Everything I read before I had to leave on my trip. Absolutely everything. If I finish this by some miracle, I will let you guys know. But I don't believe it. So, I'll see you guys in the next one. And, toodaloo.